Hi, I'm Rachael Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me today is Jaki Black, our resident cool mom, not a regular mom. And thank you for joining us on Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black and Whitefield.
Whitefield.
Dang it.
Oh
we
my
were
God.
really close. I was trying to give you
Good.
the signal, the bat signal, if you will.
A bat
Rachel,
signal.
what are we
Ring a
drinking
ding
today?
ding. What an Easter egg for what is coming. Jaki,
Right.
today we're keeping at it on Whiskey Bent, the Whiskey Bent portion of the podcast. So again, dare we say we are a budget-friendly podcast, and we are working our whiskey budget like it is the end of the month. And once again, we are drinking my current heart's desire. Rabbit Hole Boxer Grail Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey from Rabbit Hole Distillers. This is a female-owned business, and we are proud to keep featuring them on our podcast.
Yes, we kind of sound like we've already been drinking a little bit, but I promise we have not. Rachel, what ice have you got for us today? Go ahead.
Buckle up, Jacqueline. Okay, so today, I like to be a kid about it. I have Batman Bat Signal Ice Molds. And because I have been curating my ice this past week, I have, again, not sponsored, but we'll put them in the show notes because I love them so much, edible glitter from Fancy Sprinkles. And so I put the black glitter in the Bat Signal ice cubes, and it gives them like this smoky look to it, which is just like, I'm really grown up. So we'll see how the black glitter dissipates into the whiskey as we go. But again, Jaki, I'm following your lead. I'm going to pour with my heart.
Let spirit push it out of the bottle.
Spirits push the spirit. I know. All right. Ooh, this looks fun because last week the white glitter, the diamond glitter, turned it very sparkly, but look at this now.
Oh my gosh, I am obsessed with this edible glitter. I swear to God.
I know.
It's so beautiful.
Rachael is a whole mood. She is a whole look. She is extra every day of the week. So I put glitter in my Bat Signal custom made ice. Yes, I do. Jaki, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about being a mom / being child free.
And not being a mom. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big subject. Where should we start? Should we start about things? Should we start talking? I can't even talk today. Should we start talking about things that I've never thought I was going to say?
A little background. Rachael Whitefield here is child free.
Oh, that's even better.
Yes.
We should do a background quickly. Rachael is child free, not childless. I hate that phrase.
We'll get into
frankly. And we will talk about it later. And I have 2 kiddos from not one but 2 babies daddies. Neither one of them were planned though, so they just happen. Sometimes they just pop up on you.
Ooh.
You gotta have surprise.
Yeah, so we could talk about our journeys to staying child free and being a mom, but if we get our lingo, just how we discuss it in our dialect with each other, but we say child free. Childless to me means you are missing something.
Yeah, or like you tried and
I am
weren't able to have your own, or you weren't able to just have any.
Yes, but also the default coming into this world is without children. The choice to me, and this is just how I live my life, how I explain things, how it works in my mind, is the choice is to have children. One way or another, the choice is to have children. So the default is child free, and that is also a choice, but it's just more of like, I think society, and maybe why we have to kind of,
that's what I was going to say.
That phrase is, especially as a woman, it's like no, I've just maintained the status quo, and that is my choice, but I'm not missing anything by standing in my choice to remain child free.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I mean, I didn't even really, well, I guess I made the conscious choice to give birth, but I never really made the choice to get pregnant.
How old were you?
It just happened. Well, the first time I was 18, fresh out of high school. Listen, because we're from a small town, a source of pride for me was that I didn't get pregnant in high school. Cause let me tell you,
That's what
I should have.
You make fun of me a little bit for being a church kid, but I was like, I had a pretty, I mean, very abstinent set of friends, but it's also like I made it out of high school not pregnant. Like,
yeah, well, I did too, but I immediately broke that. Immediately
you were an adult.
Immediately had a belly, like so soon after. And you had an abstinent set of friends. I had a set of friends that were very like prude-ish. I personally was the bad influence. I will admit that wholeheartedly. The parents were nervous for their daughters to hang out with me pretty much every time. Like, is Jackie going?
Well, let me put it this way. The church kids weren't always abstinent. Let's put it that way.
I know.
I was, however, but again, it goes, you guys buckle up for the purity culture episode. It's going to be,
I can't wait. That one's going to be really good.
But, so you were a young mom by surprise.
Very.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you go to my baby shower? I feel like
I moved away right away.
You moved immediately. Okay. There was a couple of people who went. Oh, it was Alexis, our friend Alexis, who went to my baby shower. Yeah.
I went to
yeah,
Jennifer's baby shower.
Did I go to that one? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
She was pregnant in high school.
Yeah, but let's talk about that. From being in a small town, just for me growing up, and I realize later that this isn't the necessary case for everyone, but growing up in a small town, I thought, oh, you just get married and you have kids.
Yeah.
That's just the way things are. So we were both married very young, but also it's like, oh, getting married and having kids, but having the desire to have children is something I didn't realize
was foreign.
Some of us. I just thought it's what you do or what happens to you or what you do in your life. Choosing yes or no in this clause, like that idea was foreign to me.
I could never wrap my head around like being like, I want to get pregnant and have a baby. I could never. And I still can't. I couldn't when I got pregnant the first time, second time, still couldn't figure that out. When women were like, I want to be a mom so bad. It's everything I've ever wanted. Like that thought is so unbelievably foreign to me that alone in this conversation is extremely relatable. Like, yes. I get that.
Yeah. And so having that desire, and I've talked to my sister who has 3 kids and our mutual friends who have children, and I've asked them, I said, how are they and my friends who've struggled to get pregnant, so their deep desire to be pregnant is a real driving force in their life and their life plans, as I thought, oh, it's just something that kind of oops, yeah, it happens, but I remember asking them, how did you know you wanted to be a mom? How did you know that was going to be a part of your life?
Right.
And they've said to me, it's always been inside of me. I've always known that is something I've wanted to be. They knew, like, it was a desire of their heart to be a mom, and that their life would not be complete until they had biological children. And for me, I will just speak for me, whatever that is, I didn't get it. It was not given to me when we're sprinkled in and like, in the eyes or hair. Like, it was not it's never, I don't realize I was missing it, because again, to miss something, you have to want it. But I was like, I didn't realize like that wasn't inside of me, because it was like, oh, it's just something that happens to you or you just do in your life is have kids. But the desire to go after that is something that was very foreign to me. I was like, oh, and then it clicked that I was like, women like me should not have children.
I always felt like I was really like, and I'm the one with the kids. I felt I was too selfish to have children.
I
So
think,
I never understood like people wanting to, and being the oldest of four and them being so much younger than me, I already felt the maternal instinct. And so I feel like because I got that, like I never really felt it. But
yeah.
like I have friends, Katie,
Mm-hmm.
she only wanted to be a mom.
Yeah. And Sarah, all she
Yeah.
wanted was to be a mom. And I don't, I've, wow, I'm going to tread real thin ice here. I've always wanted something more for myself, but that's not to say that being a mom isn't like
Isn't
amazing.
fulfilling. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, that's never a
Been
light
on
that
the
even clicked in my head that it's
right.
like, oh yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
it was like, oh no, it's just, it was something that passively would happen in your life.
Right.
Not something that
It's just something that, yeah, that like supposed to happen to you eventually, not like all I want to be is a mom.
and also you hit on something that you're like, oh, I think I'm too selfish. However, is that, I don't think I'm selfish. I think I'm a very giving and generous person in my charitable work, whatever I do, how I interact with my friends. But it's like, does the outside world see me as selfish just because I don't have anything else to dote on outside of myself?
That's an interesting question.
Am
I
I
never saw it
spoiled?
that way.
I don't have anyone else to spend my money on except me. Does that, like, by default make me selfish?
I don't think so. I only am able to say that because I said it out loud to people. I am too selfish to have I hope my kids don't listen to this because my kids are gonna be like, hell yeah, you was. You know what I'm saying?
But I also true, but it's also like the older you get, the more set in your ways you are. And I was like, I don't want to go without these things, or I don't want to get up early, or I don't want to.
Be
There are
pooped on.
things, yeah, being pooped on. Have my heart broken a little bit every day.
Every day.
I don't want that.
Every day.
Yeah, my heart was broken tremendously as a child. I lost
Yeah.
a parent very young, and it's like I've already lived in a state of perpetual heartache. I don't need to keep doing that. I'm not saying that is a reason why I didn't have children. The desire was never there. I want to be very clear about that. But also, I mean, okay, we're talking about how being a child-free woman has changed my life or not changed my life. You know, how has having kids changed yours as a part of your heart lives outside of your body?
Oh, yeah. Pieces of my heart live outside of my body. I have to be honest. Like, I didn't know because okay, let me just start from the beginning. I had gotten pregnant at 18. I had my first child at 19. So at 19, I was immediately mom. However, if we back up prior to that, I said earlier that I was also the oldest sister. Well, because both of my parents were in the Navy or worked for the government, I was also mom then, right? So I already knew what it was like to be a parent. I was already ready for it. So I kind of just, like fell into being a parent. I wasn't great at choosing the men to be in my kids' lives, unfortunately.
Or did they
So
misrepresent themselves? Either way, the burden's not all on you.
it isn't.
Moving on.
But yeah, but the fact is that because I had kids so young, that was my only identity. I had no identity outside being a mom. And like in high school and prior to that, I was a working model and actor. So I was constantly working. I was constantly missing school because I was working. And that all completely stopped as soon as I got pregnant. So I was like almost discovering who I wanted to be when I got pregnant. And then my whole life completely changed. Like there was no going after any of that when I was a mom. And I didn't have any identity outside of Seth and Ruby's mom. Like that was my name, Seth and Ruby's mom. And then for the next 16 years, that's all I knew how to be. I didn't know who I was as a person. I like almost lost Jackie. And that happens.
Mm-hmm.
That happens with a lot of, even the women who want to be mothers, that happens. You lose yourself, your needs, who you are, what you love, and it all kind of gets geared towards the children's needs.
Because you have to be selfless.
Yes. Exactly. You have to be selfless. And I don't know that men, unless they're like single dads, really get to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, what, I got so lost in being a mom that I forgot that I was a goth. I forgot I was a PTA mom. I listened to like country music and like things that are good for the children's ears, like no cursing, things like that, right? Like just for while they were little. Once they hit teenagers, it was game on.
All bets
But
are
like,
off.
yeah, all bets were off because I remembered vividly what it was like to be a teenager. So I had to immediately be able to like communicate with them. That's not here nor there. But like, I just forgot who I was. And then on top of that, I didn't get the 20s like everybody else did.
To discover yourself.
Yes. My friends were going to parties. They were going to college. They were moving out and getting roommates. They weren't inviting me anywhere. And I was super resentful about that. That actually hurt some of my friendships because like they were doing the fun things. And I was just like sad in the corner. Not sad because I was a mom, but like sad that I didn't get to experience all of the things that you're supposed to experience when you're in your 20s. And I think a lot of like younger parents kind of miss out on that. But at the same time, y'all, I don't like, if you're going to have kids, my suggestion is to have them a little bit younger because now I'm 40. Both of my kids are out of the house and now I'm getting to completely rediscover who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about that is I don't have to be broke because I got adult money now.
Yes. Oh, but go back to losing yourself a little bit. Like, I know who you were in high school and I know who you are now. Are there certain things that you're just like, I can't believe this is coming out of my mouth? This is not a sentence I thought I would ever say.
Oh,
like what?
First of all, every mom has said, like pretty much like every mom I know at least has said this sentence. Oh my goodness, you have done such a good job pooping today.
I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I have had dogs in the past and
similar.
Yeah. But I also
Except
hate
for the dogs always love you and never say, I hate you. You're ruining my life. Like the dogs always love you.
I will say that I'm always happy to see them. And I can just leave a bowl of food and them naked in the house for hours on end. And it's not frowned upon. But also,
said naked in the house.
Well, they have their fur coats on, you know.
I mean,
it's just
yeah.
I can leave. But yeah, it was but I know this is not a fair comparison, but please forgive me. It is the only comparison I have.
Oh, your dogs were your babies.
I had 3 dogs, but I wasn't like, oh, my children. But it was like, I always say, as I am the baby of my family, like everyone loves me. I'm the best. Like if birth order stereotypes, hardcore, I am the baby. But also it's more of, I always say I'm the favorite, you know, but
literally you sound like my little sister right now.
But when I would say, you know, I was like, my 3 pugs, I have 3 pugs. And it was like, I love them all equally and I love them all differently. Is this what it's like for my mom to love my sister and I? Like
100%
differently, they love us differently, but they do love us. I couldn't pick a favorite, but I was like, oh, I love this Rooney because she does this. I love Margaret because she does it. I love Winston because he does this. Like, yeah, and so it's just like, I
Can
know it
confirm.
is just a poor man's version of something that I could maybe understand a little bit, but it's the closest thing I have to understanding. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Can confirm
Mhm.
every mom loves their children equally, but
And
it is very different. Like my son was easy. I could plop him in front of Shrek for hours and he would be fine. All he would want is a snack and some juice. You know what I'm saying? So good. Wouldn't leave the room, wouldn't leave literally a 3-foot by 3-foot square. I could go about my business. So I thought to myself, let's have, maybe getting pregnant with another one of these isn't so bad. Then immediately, without planning, I was pregnant. Didn't like say like I'm gonna go ahead and get pregnant, but I thought, maybe I'll have another one because he's so easy and having kids is not that big a deal. And then
you already had one, you can have another
might as
one.
well have two. Never listen to that. If your first one is easy, this is a PSA. Don't have a second. The second one is going to be the devil. So Ruby, here's what I'm gonna say about Ruby. I love her so much. She is like a miniature version of me. She says things and I'm like, that's your mama. I love it so much. But you don't know what it's like to have a kid that okay, let me rephrase this. You make fun of people with kids on leashes until you have a kid that needs a leash. Yeah.
Empathy. This is like where empathy grows. It's just like, you know what? I'm here for it.
She was ADHD, but presented like a boy does. So you know how boys are like very vibrant in their ADHD. Like they are 100% like going at 100 miles per hour, can't really sit still, have a ton of things to say. What I like to say about that is their spirits are new to this planet and everything is exciting. And that's why we call it ADHD, because this is very exciting for them to discover everything, right? Seth, however, had an old soul. He was like, I've been here before. I don't need to see all of this. I'm going to stay right here in my 3-foot by 3-foot square. You deal with Ruby. Ruby runs into full-on parades at Disney World. Like she's part of the parade. That's when we implemented the leash.
The leash, yeah. Well, they wouldn't make them if they weren't selling them. They didn't sell.
First of all, at this point, it's a safety thing. If you got a kid that's not going to stay by you, you can't hold its hand all the time. Leash it. It's fine. Feel no guilt over leashing your kids. They'll get together later in their lives. They'll get together in groups, call themselves leash kids. They will build a bridge and get over it.
Leash kids are the next generation of latchkey kids.
Oh, I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
They don't even know what that phrase means.
No,
they don't. But leash kids are the next generation of latchkey kids. Like it's almost the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But same level of trauma, maybe? I don't know. She'll be fine.
It's different. It'll be like,
what are parents for?
Not to traumatize our children, of course. But yeah, okay. So there are instances in my life that I don't realize. I don't like using the word ignorant, but if I don't have a better word for it, that I don't realize I am
means that you're not educated.
I am not educated in a way. So however, okay, so dating story. So I think I had mentioned this in maybe in episode 1 about being 40, but I've dated men who at 37, I'm 37, 38 years old. They're like, oh, you don't have kids? Well, you're going to want them, right? And I'm afraid because they're done having kids. So it's like, they just assume that it hasn't happened yet and I will want them. And I was like, this is a conversation we should have. Don't decide. Don't tell me what you think I want. Ask me. And I mean, I have never had a pregnancy scare in my life, never taken a pregnancy test. I have been very active on the birth control. However, it's like, I've never been worried in my life about it. So it's like, this is by choice. This is an active choice that I have made for my life. So please ask me about it versus you just assume that my clock is ticking and then I will want it. And that's why I'm dating. No,
I hate that phrase. I hate that phrase. The ticking clock phrase.
And again, I was also afraid that it would happen to me. That it's like,
Oh.
I like, because you hear it all the time. And I was like, apparently I'm going to have like a hard 6 months of like desire. And then the women who have had their clock tick, but have stayed child free, they're just like, stay strong and it'll pass. And then you're good. And that's what you really wanted. And I was like, okay, but it hasn't happened. Like, again, it has never been inside of me to, so I was like, there's no clock to tick. You know?
Clock's not there, you guys.
But also when we talk about like this ignorance that I have when it comes to people with children, there's an experience. I was dating somebody and it was a long distance relationship. So when we would see each other, I treated it like vacation. I was sleeping in, I was like, baby, is there anything that we needed to do in the morning? What do I need to get up for anything? Because I'm punctual. I will get up. Like, if you tell me I have to be somewhere at 8 a.m., I'll be there at 8 a.m. If you just want to roll out of bed and go to breakfast, that's not a good enough experience, good enough excuse.
Terrible idea.
So then he's like, no, baby, we don't have anything to do. Okay, I'm gonna sleep in. I'm not done sleeping yet. I'm gonna sleep till 10. I can live my life between 10 a.m. and 2 a.m. That's the sweet spot for me. So I just
my body can't do that.
I'm sleeping in
on my face.
I am sleeping in like I'm on vacation because I'm like we're out, we're seeing each other's vacation. Mm-hmm. But it drove him crazy because he is also a morning person. But he also says to me later, because we talked about it, because it really like irked him. It festered a little while, but he was like, Rachael, like when you have kids, you just can't sleep in for as long as you want to.
Reason number 3,265. Well, Rachael is not going to have kids.
But how would I know that? How would I know that?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can't sleep in as long as you want because I've never had a reason to get up early outside of like walking the dog. Like
this was the guy who you said had kids?
Yes.
Okay. He was expecting you to stepmama them kids.
Not quite. Yeah. Cause it was still, it was early in the relationship. It was the eagle, but,
okay.
But the point being is like, he's like, you realize you can't do that. And I was like, how would I know that? Like, it didn't even occur to me that I couldn't sleep in for as long as I want because I've been sleeping in for as long as I want for as long as I have wanted my whole life. I am a sleepy girl.
Forever. I will sleep.
Yes, but it's like, I don't have to get up early and go to soccer practice. I don't have to get up early and go to swim meets. I don't have to get up early and make breakfast. I don't have to get up early and wipe butts. I don't have to do
Listen, now
that. So I don't know.
I don't know what that's like.
Well, you do now in your 40s. But it's like almost this thing that's held against me because I don't know how to do it. I do need that adult to your adult because I'm not a mom,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because it's all ingrained in full circle and stuff. But I will say also, being a child-free woman and being part of a child-free couple, man, my divorce was easy.
Can't imagine. My divorce took 3 years with the child. So I was not married to my son's father, and he sort of dropped off the planet. Side note, I just saw you take a sip of that whiskey. Please show our online watchers what that shit looks like now.
It is black with bats. This is in retrospect. It is beginning.
That is for me. You made that drink for me.
It is spooky. It is smoky. There are bats in it. I was like, it's Batman.
It's literally a whiskey for Jackie.
Yes. Jacqueline.
That is Jacqueline Kennedy. But wait, what do you call me all the time?
When I'm about to drop bombs and some information, I always say Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis.
Or whenever you're shocked.
Gasp, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis.
Exactly.
Do you want to hear the backstory of how I know that?
Her name?
Of how I know like that whole Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis. Okay, in junior high, we had to do a like presentation in front of the class of a historical figure. And I think I did Joan of Arc, and I don't remember anything about her. Yvette did.
No way.
Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis. And I was like, that. And again, I have like a penchant for words, and you can kind of see it now. But I was like, I'm Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis. Like, it's
got a rhythm to
it's got
it.
like, that is a big name. And
Yeah.
so it's just that now that it's just whenever there's
Imagine if I used all of my last names. There's 5 now.
But can you imagine me going to some class reunion, just be like, Yvette, your 7th grade presentation
That's some
stuck with me
small-town
more
shit,
than
bro.
my Joan of Arc one did. Like, good for, yes. Well
That's
done,
some
Yvette.
small town
Well
shit.
done.
Because
Yeah.
first of all, listeners, I know exactly who she's talking about. Because why? Because she was in our class.
Yeah, she's in our class. Yeah. So Jacqueline Bouvier,
Shout out
Kennedy
Yvette. We love you and
Onassis,
miss you.
I'm going to shout that out to Yvette because I did learn something from her presentation. Anyways, back on track. But that's
divorce. That's
Yes.
what we were talking about. So I didn't divorce my first
nothing to divorce
baby's daddy.
Mhm.
And we never set up custody, even though I tried multiple times. He just poof disappeared.
Mhm.
So as baby daddies tend to do every once in a while. So then I married my second husband, divorced him when he ended up going to jail. And because he was in jail, I got to divorce my ex-mother-in-law. That's psychopath. Listen, you don't think that this is what's going to happen when you get a divorce from your husband. You don't think you're going to have to divorce your mother-in-law, but let me tell you, the boomers are a special generation because those grandmothers want to be so heavily involved that they're the parents. And I don't understand this, like, as a generation. I don't understand this because this is not the only boomer that I have heard
but
jumping into the middle.
The latchkey kids. Maybe
that's exactly right.
Something.
They're the parents that they had to remind, where's your kid at? It's 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman, I have nothing really good to say about her because of what her son told me about how she was as a parent, which was basically like abusive or non-existent because she was always in the bar. And this is the woman I had to divorce. And it took 3 years to finally finalize custody. Custody went back and forth because we were in her town with a good old boy judge that she used to drink with. You know what I'm saying?
So you weren't divorcing and having custody with your ex. You were having custody
because he was because he was in jail. There's 2 things about my ex. He's a drug addict and a criminal, which is, I guess, one thing in 2 things.
Hand in one.
And a little abusive, especially when he was on drugs. Okay. He got the abusiveness from his mother. His mother is just, I don't want to like diagnose anybody, but she's a classic narcissist. The more I learn about them, the more I'm like, oh. And so I went from divorcing one abuser to divorcing his abusive mother. And that's one thing that people don't understand is that, like, if you're with an abuser and you have children with them, you have to continue to co-parent with the abuser. And that in and of itself is a nightmare.
I mean, obviously my experience is not that, but it's also like getting a divorce does not change the fact that you are still a family.
That,
you know, like,
see, I would disagree.
If you have children,
us a family. I would never call us a family. I would just be like, that's my baby. First of all, it's embarrassing that he gets to call me his baby's mom. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, please don't show my picture to people. Yeah. Please don't tell people that I'm her mother. But like, I could never consider me family with them. That's her family. That's my daughter's family.
Yeah.
But I could never go and be a part of any of that. I can't even hear their voices on the phone because of the abuse. Is so, like, I have PTSD from it for sure. Like, as soon as I hear her voice specifically, his mother, when I hear her voice, I get physically ill. I get actually sick. I have told my daughter multiple times, like, I will have you and your boyfriend like come up and meet me, but I will not go and pick you up from your house. And she's always like, why? And I'm like, because then you'll have to spend the bail money that I have set aside for the next time I see her. Because now you're an adult and I'm going to beat her ass. I'm just kidding.
And they get to choose. But also, okay, so like back to being a like it has changed you dramatically from person you probably never identified that you were ever going to be. Do you pee a little every time you sneeze or laugh?
Ma'am, a little. I literally, like, are you kidding? I have to stop and cross my legs if I'm walking. And I know I have to cough or sneeze. I have to stop and cross my legs. There has been so many freaking times. So many times where I excuse me, we have to go home because I have to change because I peed in my pants. There is not enough Kegels in the world to heal what happened to my body. I gave birth to these children, both of them, without drugs. Without none, zero, zip, zilch. They popped right out of me. Okay. Ooh. Good part about giving birth, raw dog, how I like to call it. Okay. I mean, that's how they came into this world. You know what I'm saying? Is that you can get up right after the birth. The downside is that like your bladder, your pelvic floor, if you will, is weak to the point where like now my algorithm on TikTok picks up the Kegel videos. Did you know that there's Kegel videos on TikTok where they're like, stop. Okay, now do it to this like set of symbols. This is the long hold. This is the short hold. I'm stopping every one of those videos.
Also true. You know what? I have all my bodily functions intact.
What's that like?
You know what? Yeah.
Oh my God. I have a question.
If I'm going to be ignorant about one thing, I'll be like, I want to be ignorant about peeing my pants a little.
I have a question.
Can
you just, without any kind of preparation, get on a trampoline?
Yeah.
And what's that like?
Why would I? Like, it wouldn't occur to me that's like I need to prepare myself. I'm like, I can just get on a trampoline.
I got on a trampoline.
I could just do box jumps at the gym. I can just get on a roller coaster. I can just sneeze spontaneously.
Wow. And keep walking.
Keep walking. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
That's a thing I never knew I needed to be thankful for.
Your bodily functions? Yeah.
I had no idea. Plus my lack of dealing with a poop that is not mine.
Oh yeah. No, I've been shit on multiple times. And like after the second time, it's just like, well, I got shit on. There are many times where I have been outside of the house with poop on my shirt. That's a thing. That's relatable. All the moms listening are like, yeah, me too.
And it's like no big deal. You're like, yeah, it's like puke, water off a duck's back for you. Poop. I would, pardon the pun, lose my shit. Because I was just like, oh my God, I have the worst. I am a sympathetic puker.
Let me tell you a cute story. I was holding my brand new newborn baby daughter, and she was an adorable baby. Okay. Like the cutest. Both my kids were super cute, but I was like extra obsessed with how she looked. And I don't know, it might've been because like, I kind of was like, oh, that's like a little tiny version of me. But I was holding her and I was just talking to her and she started smiling. She was like in her like little half sleep, half awake. And she started smiling. And at this point she's like 2 weeks old. Right. So I'm like, oh, she's an bitch. She was shitting on me. It was coming out the side of her diaper. I put her down. There was poop all the way down.
I'm sorry to our listeners.
Kids just poop on you. They just poop on you.
Yeah.
And then listen, they shit on you for the first couple of months in their lives. And then they, go through all of their little asshole phases and become teenagers and say shit like, I don't like you. You're ruining my life. Like,
they
bitch,
literally
you shit on
you, and then they figuratively shit on you.
They literally shit on you, and they figuratively, I can't even say the word. You got it. You said it.
That's the thing. Why would I want to go through that? Like, no one has ever sold me on having children. Even like mothers who are going through maybe a tough time with their children. You said this to me when we were reconnecting. I was like, oh, I don't have kids. And you were like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, it's
Don't.
not, I'm not sold on it. But I mean,
do it.
so you're talking about your experience in the hospital, but dare I say I go to some past medical experiences I've had as a child-free woman where I knew going into my marriage that we're planning on not having children. That was a discussion we had and we both agreed. And so I remember I had an abnormal HAP and I needed to have a LEEP procedure to remove some precancerous cells from my cervix. And the doctors were telling me, Rachel, what explained to me is like the cervix is what keeps the baby from falling out.
That's a plug.
It's a plug.
Yeah. Plug that
So
keeps the
I'll
baby
be
in.
missing half of it. And they're telling a 24-year-old woman, you're not going to have a hard time getting pregnant. You will have a hard time staying pregnant. And they are talking to me like they are giving, like someone has died. And I was like, all I could hear was pre-cancer. And like, can we remove it? And so I was like, yeah, let's get that scheduled. Let's do that. And they're like, do you because I was so nonchalant about the I would be a high risk pregnancy. And I was so nonchalant about it. They sat me down, like, do you understand what we're telling you?
And you're over there like,
and yeah. I'm 24. And I was like, yeah, let's get this scheduled. I'm not going to have kids. So everyone assumes you're going to change your mind anyways. So like, they don't listen to you. So people have just not been listening to me of like my life choices because I'm too young to know better.
In general.
Which is really frustrating. So it's very frustrating like that. And then also when I was 30, going in for my annual exam, getting my birth control, this was the hospital, the doctor's office I was attached to the hospital was part of the Catholic health care system in Seattle, Washington. However, it's the way she phrased this question. And I'm 30 years old, so I guess I'm transitioning to a geriatric pregnancy if that was the case. For never having a first child.
It's 40. God.
Isn't it so crazy? But to not have a first child.
Oh, by 30 at this point. Yeah.
So then she asks me, and this really stuck in my craw because it was like, her question was, when are you planning on having children? Not drop the first word off. Are you planning on having children? It was, when are you? When is the default? Yeah. And so it's like my whole life, I've been coming up with these strategic ways to say it because apparently it's very harsh to say, I don't really like kids. I don't want them. And now I'm kind of like stepping in the power. I'm like, yeah, I am selfish, but am I? Or am I just, I have nothing to spend my money on? But it's more of like when I was younger in my late 20s, like early 30s, my mom told me to say, oh, it just hasn't happened yet. And people stop asking because they think, oh, and then it's like, is there something wrong inside of me? Possibly. I have no idea. I never needed to get that checked out of my reproductive care, So it was just like, oh, just say, oh, it hasn't happened yet. Because saying I don't want children, apparently it comes across real harsh.
Yeah.
But I do also, to the benefit, I feel society is changing a little bit where if people do judge me, they don't say it, they just say, oh, okay.
I think there's a lot more people going child-free, to be honest. Like, I think the world is at a place where the younger generation is like, no, we're good. Because like genuinely, I have encouraged my children not to have kids.
Yeah.
And like, I know that sounds really, really bad, but like, I want to be as real as possible because I know other moms have felt this way, especially young moms or teen moms or so. You will resent your children if you are not ready to have kids when you have them. You will. And that resentment may come out in the way you parent or react to behaviors. And I am guilty of that. And I will fully admit it. And I am it's one of those things, like, as a mom, here's something that you don't know, Rachel. As a mom, you are constantly thinking about every single mistake you ever made as a child, and it makes you cry. Or not as a child, as a mother. Everything you said to your children, every time you yelled at them, every time, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it makes me cry. It makes me feel like I'm a bad mom. But my kids obviously are like, no, that's not what we remember. Like, we remember you yelled sometimes, but like, that wasn't a big deal to us. Like, I had my kid the other day told me flat out, like, I fucking deserved way more than that.
Yeah,
I
and
was
I mean,
bad, you know.
but dare I say, who am I to say? But it's like parenting isn't all good times. It is discipline as well. Just to be like, you're supposed to be making a decent human being, you know? And so it's like that comes
Yes.
with hard times as well. But I don't, man, I don't
It's
know.
hard. It's really,
Yeah.
really, it's a really difficult thing. So that's why I'm always like, don't have kids, you guys, until you're really emotionally ready to like be there. And we were talking
And
about the other day how we have a classmate who's just now started to have kids.
mhm.
And like, I almost am like, good, she has done absolutely everything. She has accomplished
She got the
so
career.
much in her life. Her career is
Mm,
ridiculous.
yes.
You know,
Yes.
she's traveled
Mhm.
everywhere. She's like, we literally have nothing bad to say about
We
this
love her
woman.
so much.
Yeah.
So proud of
But
her. She
so
did it.
proud. And
She did the damn
now
thing.
she's having her kids,
Mhm.
or just maybe she's just
Sure.
having the one. She could
Mhm.
just be having the one child. But like, she's accomplished, it seems like, at least from our perspective, that she's accomplished so much of everything that she has already wanted.
And now it's the
And
next
because
adventure.
exactly, like, the kids are now the adventure. To me, that makes more sense. We should be having kids around 35 to 40
I always
if we're
said
doing it responsibly and, like, doing our things
this is how I always
first.
feel. I was like, life is so short. I wish we lived to 200. I wish we didn't get married until 50. I wish we didn't start having kids
Yes.
until 70 or 80. Then we raise some kids. Then we have this space to do it. I wish we lived to
That would be
200 and
great.
we didn't have kids until 80.
I love that idea. Who do we talk to?
Who did
Where's
we
the
talk to? Where's
manager?
the manager? But
Where
okay,
is the manager?
last note before we jump into our takeaways, but I think I get a lot of questions of like, oh, do you think you'll regret having kids? But I think the real question for me is
Or
if
not
I have
having
them,
kids?
would the regret be having them? You know? And so I think that's something a lot of people don't talk about because it's really frowned upon. If maybe they were pressured into having kids by the partner, society, or like they just thought that's what you do. They didn't realize it was an active choice to do. Either way, but it's also like once you have kids, you can't take that back. And so
Right.
it's more of I would rather lean on this side of regret. I don't
Yeah.
think I will. I will stand in my power, absolutely, in my choices, and I do not regret it. And I will not regret it. But when people ask, I don't think they understand the other side of the coin is like, no, you can also regret other things. I don't know.
So for me, I
Mhm.
regret having them as young as I did, for sure.
Mhm.
Like, I definitely regret having them at 19 and 21. Like, I had them very, very early. And I think they suffered for that, right?
Mhm.
But I don't regret having them in general, because they're amazing. They're awesome. Like, this is my favorite thing right now, and I'm kind of obsessed with it.
Okay.
They called me mommy for the first like 8 years of their lives. Right
Mhm.
around 9, they stopped calling me mommy and started calling me mom.
Mhm.
And like, I
Mhm.
didn't mind that, because I started calling my mom around that same time, but it did hurt. And just FYI, listeners, if you're a parent, especially a new parent, there's a couple things you don't know are coming, and then they happen and you don't know that they have happened. And that the first thing is that your kids are going to call you mommy for the last time, and you're not going to know. Isn't that sad?
That makes me want to cry.
It's a little sad. They're also going to hold your hand across the street for the last time, and you're not going to know.
You don't know it's the last time.
You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But because I have 2 adult children, here's what I can tell you. They're going to call you mommy again. They are. My kids both, well, they don't call me mommy, they call me mama. And it is literally my favorite thing in the whole world. Every time I get a hey mama, or every time I get a FaceTime, hi mama, you know, and they both call me that. Even they don't have, well, my daughter has a country accent, but like the fact that they both call me that, it makes me feel like, okay, like all of those things that I keep thinking about, like I'm a bad mom. We do that as moms, by the way, tell ourselves we're bad moms. Even though it's not true. It's not fucking true unless you are an actual bad mom, but it's not fucking true. Like if you think to yourself, I'm a terrible mom, the truth of the matter is probably that's not the case.
Terrible moms don't ever think that they're terrible moms.
Terrible moms think that they're the best. Good moms have the regrets of like what they could have done better.
It's so funny because I've been focusing on, I don't want my heart to live outside of my body. I don't want to have my heart broken every day, but it's like, but what's the other side of that coin, Rachel? Of like, you just said it. You're like, that heartbreak might be absolutely fucking worth it.
I'm so like obsessed and proud of my children that, like, I didn't think that the whole time. I thought I'm fucking them up. I am fucking these things up.
You're not doing any different than any other parent.
And then they turn out to be full productive members of society that pay taxes. Like my son is in the Navy, which means vis-a-vis, I raised a man. You don't just volunteer for military service because you're a shit show. Well, I mean, that's not true. I've met people in the military. There's some of them that are a shit show.
Huge caveat on this part of the conversation.
Yeah. But he joined out of his own fruition. He wanted to serve his country, and now he's a submariner. Like that's a big deal that I raised that person, and he went through basic training or boot camp or whatever the Navy calls it. And that, you know what I'm saying? That he took that on himself, and I didn't have to be a part of that. He like knew that was part of our family tradition, and that's what he wanted to do. So he went and did it. And I raised a man who was mature enough, smart enough to get like through that. My daughter's the same thing. My daughter's, she's 18, so she's still trying to figure it out, but she's got a job. She, pays her own bills. She's on track to doing great things. And they both have really, really good heads on their shoulders. So as much as I regret, I kind of wish I had them at 25, 26. Like, I don't regret having them young for sure, because I'm done. I am done. Like, you're never done being a mom, but I'm done. Like,
you're young enough for your life to start and to enjoy.
I can now figure out who the fuck I am, which is new.
With time to spare. So as we transition into the wrapping up this episode, what are your main takeaways for being a mom?
Oh yeah, that's what we're doing. Takeaways. Listen, it's fulfilling as shit, but you're going to get shit on, figuratively and literally. That's the takeaway. It's so fulfilling, but you're going to get shit on. No matter how gentle a parent you are, one day your teenager is going to hide themselves in their room. And they're not going to want to come out for hours. Just deliver the food.
It's fine.
It's fine. Just deliver it. Tell them you love them. Be a cool mom, not a regular mom.
Let's see. My takeaways are, don't let anyone tell you what's best for you. If you want to be a mom, be a mom. If you do not want to be a mom, you don't have to justify that to anybody. I don't have to justify why I sleep in. I don't have to justify where I spend my money. I don't have to justify why my choice to not have kids. I think my takeaway is that I would hope that people understand that being child free is the default, not the other way around.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That is right. Okay. Are we ready to draw some cards?
Ready for the spellbound. We got the whiskey out of the way, into the spellbound portion of the podcast. Jackie, take it away with a 3-card pull.
Take it away.
Ooh.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Mhm.
Here we go. So first and foremost, we have the world. It's just about like harmony, bringing balance, bringing like completion, unity, perfection. It draws from like inside and outside sources. So you really have to think about, what are you looking to just absolutely complete, finish up, bring to fruition in your life. Let's see what else is about. This is really about life's journey.
God.
So that's
really appropriate for our podcast.
These are really appropriate. This
The
is literally
universe.
all about
Ring a ding ding.
Let me tell you, I had to explain to somebody how tarot works. And if I can explain in the most scientific way, is that there are no accidents. It's a law. Physics proves this. Everything that's supposed to happen is going to happen.
Mhm.
So every card I pull is supposed to be pulled at that time. If that makes most sense, that's pretty good, right? Okay, so this is about completion, pointing to life's journey, all that. And then we have, oh, bro.
Do you have to say your own name real quick? Do you have to pull out a Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis?
Man, this is literally, okay, so the 6 of Wands is the next one. It's about success. It's about victory. It's about finishing the task at hand. So we have life's journey card followed by finishing a task. It just really like leans into what we were talking about when it comes to like what we choose in our life and how we want it to end up. As far as I'm concerned, this is like the end all be all of me being a parent. And this is the success of that journey. Right. And we could say probably the same thing to you. This is you creating the world that you want without all of that extra shit. And this is the success in your life, the fulfillment in your life that you like were seeking. It has a lot to do with public reward too, by the way.
Which is my career.
This is the 2 of Swords, but y'all, it's in reversed. It's in reverse, which basically means there are no right choices.
There's just choices.
There's just choices.
That's what I said our last episode.
Girlfriend, if I don't pull the best cards for every freaking reading, I don't know who, for every show, I don't know who can.
I know.
If somebody says I'm not magic,
the universe funnels through you. I know. I would never say that.
This is just, so basically the 2 of Swords is about like, there not being a right choice. It's literally just make the choice and follow through. Do it. As far as like being a parent, being a mom, sister, sometimes it happens. Get it done. Do the next right thing. You're going to figure it out. I promise. So that's the 3-card pull for the spellbound portion.
I love it. Oh, well,
it was a good show.
It was a good show. One more takeaway. It just popped in my mind. This is what I would say to everybody. That I was like, I'm a whole and complete person and I'm not missing anything. You know, as a child-free woman, you know, that's the thing.
That's a good takeaway.
Yeah. I'm a whole and complete person.
I'm a whole and complete person, even though I didn't accomplish everything that I wanted to because I had children. And people need to understand that too.
And we will see you next time on Whiskey Bent
and Spellbound with Black and Whitefield.
Cheers.
Cheers. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.